I'm gonna build you a house. Right here. Our house. I want to take Mildred up to D.C. to get married.
You sure about that?
By the power vested in me by the District of Columbia, I now pronounce you husband and wife.
So it was such a great movie, such a great story, something that I wasn't familiar with at all. I mean, I'm assuming maybe you were, maybe you weren't familiar with this.
I was not familiar at all until Jeff told me about it and then shared the Loving Story documentary, Nancy Bursky's documentary with me. I was surprised that, you know, I'm Australian. It's like, of course I don't know about it, but why don't more American people know about Richard and Mildred?
I don't know. It seems like maybe because it wasn't, my thing is they weren't activists. They weren't trying to do this on purpose. They were just two normal people just living their life.
And I suspect also because nobody was shot. There wasn't a beating. There wasn't like a riot. And therefore it's not, you understand, like a newsworthy event. It's not on the news that night, except for the Supreme Court case. But then in comparison to the extreme drama of blood on the streets, you know, I think people don't really remember events like this. However, it's a very big and important shift in civil rights, the civil rights landscape in this country.
In here?
Richard!
What you doing in bed with that woman?
I'm his wife.
That's no good here.
Richard Perry Loving being a white person and Mildred Jeter being a colored person did unlawfully cohabitate as man and wife.
Richard?
That ain't right!
I believe this is a battle that could go all the way to the Supreme Court.
We ain't hurting anybody.
The state of Virginia will argue that it is unfair to bring children of mixed race into the world.
Tell that woman to come out here.
And then I hear they still even use it in some court cases now.
Well, June 26th, in the handing down of the Supreme Court case for, you know, opening up the rights for same-sex couples to be married, Loving v. Virginia was cited in that case, yeah.
And is it nerve-wracking playing somebody real? I mean, trying to do justice to...
Yeah. Look, you get given this task, and quite often as an actor, your task is just to create a character, you know, out of nothing, out of what your response to the script is, you know. And here you get given footage of a real person, and not just a real person, but a real couple, because our task, Ruth and I, was to create that as well. But you start to put pressure on yourself to get it right, vocally, physically, and everything about that character. And so it sort of frees up, or it frees up having to create anything out of thin air, and gives you a specific task, which is terrifying.
I won't raise my family here. I don't care what they do to us.
Get Peggy inside!
I can take care of you.
I know that.
I can take care of you.
I know we have some enemies, but we have some friends too.
You realize this case could alter the Constitution of the United States.
You think you'll lose?
We may lose the small battles, but win the big war.
And your character, I mean, to be honest, he was actually kind of funny. He's a man of little words and a few grunts. Yeah. I mean, is that the footage that you saw? Was that...
He's actually got quite a sense of humor, Richard. Very shy around the cameras. But also, like, he had great intuition. And I think it's very telling in the movie, say, when the lawyers say to him, one way that we suggest you get back in the court system is to get rearrested. Yes, it makes sense on a legal front. But Richard is very much like the rest of us who would look at a lawyer like that, like he's got two heads, you know. And so there was something beautiful. And that's why I think we identify with them as kind of the heroes that they are, because they're not They're not the revolutionaries kicking the door down. They're the simple people just like you and me who get pushed into the middle of a situation and become the identifiable face and poster children of a change.
Is there anything you'd like me to say to the Supreme Court Justices of the United States?
Yeah. Tell the judge I love my wife.